It's November 6th, 1860. This guy here is named Abraham Lincoln, and he was just elected president. You know who hates him? It's the South, who just broke off from the Union. What? You can't do that, said the North. Watch me, said the South, and thus the Civil War began. Wait, that's the wrong one. That's better. Good old blue versus slightly more grayish blue. This war had crazy technology like trains and telegraphs and this really useful new ammunition called the mini ball. Also, women can't fight, so they became nurses. By the way, this is Clara Barton. You're going to want to keep your eye on her because she's going to found the American Red Cross. They also dressed up as men to fight. This lady even wore a mustache.
Look at the size of that thing.
They were also spies, farmers, scouts, and smugglers. Anyway, the Confederate raid at Fort Sumter officially began the Civil War. Luckily, the North had a strategy they liked to call the Anaconda Plan. Wait, that's not an anaconda. That's better. The plan was to cut off the South's trade by taking their ports. After that, the Union would divide the Confederate states so they couldn't help one another. And finally, the Union would capture Richmond. The first official battle in the Civil War was the Battle of Bull Run. Union forces were marching to Richmond when, it's Stonewall Jackson and his Confederate forces, and they just got reinforcements, and the Union was beaten. Confederates won, Union 0. Then trade ships to the south were blocked because the ports were taken, and then the Confederate states were divided into parts, completing steps 1 and 2 of the Anaconda Plan. Then came the Battle of Antietam. General Robert E. Lee decided to invade Maryland because he wanted to show Europe that he can invade a Union state. But Union soldiers outnumbered Lee's Confederate soldiers, and it was victory for neither side. The death tolls were massive, most likely because medicine wasn't that good and weapons were becoming more and more advanced. After that, Lincoln decided to abolish slavery by passing the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves in the South. After that came the Battle of Gettysburg. Lee decided to try and make peace with the Union by invading them, and of course, that failed. The Union had outnumbered the Confederate soldiers, but both armies had took their toll. Then habeas corpus happened, and Lincoln gave a speech he called the Gettysburg Address, honoring fallen heroes at the Battle of Gettysburg on both sides. Then came the Battle of Vicksburg. Now there's boats. After Vicksburg came the 54th Regiment. The 54th Regiment was a regiment in the Union Army made up of soldiers that were all African American. The 54th Regiment led an attack on Fort Wagner. After losing half their men, they decided to retreat. Still, this battle won them incredible popularity and created more regiments in the Union Army made of African American soldiers. Then came the Battle of Richmond. General Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee were fighting, and it resulted in a Union victory. Then William I Can't Pronounce That Sherman marched to the sea while doing the following: burning crops, taking animals, ransacking houses, and bending railroads around trees. Not long after, President Lincoln was reelected, and General Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant at a courthouse in the middle of nowhere. Did you like this video? If so, you should subscribe and leave a like. And if you're wondering, there is a bibliography in the description. Anyways, I'm Ciron the Relic, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Goodbye!